Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtubrayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, fourth chapter, the process of creation, text number 11 onwards. Okay, who got missed? So, Shaunak Rishi was asking questions to Sud Goswami, and in between, then Sud Goswami said, Parikshit Maharaj started asking questions to Sukadev Goswami. About basically, he's wanted to know all about creation, the creative energy of Krishna, all the energies of Krishna, all his expansion. So in this text 11, now Sud Goswami is speaking. Iti upa mantrito ragya gunanu kathane hare rishikesham anusmritya prativaktum prachakrame. Sud Goswami said, when Sukadev Goswami was thus requested by the king to describe the creative energy of the personality of Godhead, he then systematically remembered the master of the senses, Sri Krishna, and to reply properly, he spoke thus. The devotees of the Lord, while delivering speeches and describing the transcendental attributes of the Lord, do not think that they can do anything independently. They think that they can speak only what they are induced to speak by the Supreme Lord, the master of the senses. The senses of the individual being are not his own. The devotee knows that such senses belong to the Supreme Lord and that they can be properly used when they are employed for the service of the Lord. The senses are instruments and the elements are ingredients, all endowed by the Lord. Therefore, whatever an individual can do, speak, see, etc., is under the direction of the Lord only. So, a devotee, he understands, of course, devotee of Sukadev Goswami level, they have realized everything is controlled by the Lord. So before speaking anything, they first pay obeisances to the Lord and then they start speaking. And this is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us in ISKCON, basically, when we follow Srila Prabhupada. So before giving lecture, we pray to Prabhupada, we pray to Guru, pray to Vyasadeva, pray to Saraswati, pray to the Lord himself to give us the power to speak. Without the mercy, a devotee knows he cannot do anything. He cannot speak properly. Even if he speaks, he cannot influence, he cannot help others at all. He knows that. So same thing Sukadev Goswami is doing. No one is free to act freely and independently. As such, one should always seek the permission of the Lord to act or to speak, or eat or speak. And by the blessing of the Lord, everything done by a devotee is beyond the principles of the four defects typical of the conditioned soul. So it's only by the blessings or mercy of the Lord a devotee can perform such Herculean tasks that is beyond the four defects which are typical of a conditioned soul. So devotee, he knows everything is done by the Lord. It's not like he becomes humble, then he understands. He knows nothing is in my control. So text 12. Now Sukadev Goswami started to speak to answer Parikshit Maharaj's question. Nama parasmay purushaya bhuyase sadudbhavasthana nirodha lilya grihit shakti trit yaya dehinam antarbhavayan uplakshya vartmane. Sukadev Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who for the creation of the material world accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable. So here he also, Sukadev Goswami starts with the respectful obeisances unto Krishna, and then he starts speaking about his various attributes. This material world is a manifestation of the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the Supreme Lord for the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world accepts three predominating forms as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, Shiva. So he accepts three predominating forms as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, or Shiva. It doesn't mean he is Brahma himself. Of course, some Brahmaji is a living entity who's qualified, who is who has done lots of tapasya, lots of pious activities, and then he gets a chance to be a Brahma, to be Brahma. And it's said somewhere that if Krishna does not find, not Krishna, if Vishnu does not find anybody suitable for the position of Brahma, then he becomes Brahmaji in that particular universe. But normally he is not Brahman. Brahma is normally a living entity, but is empowered by Krishna to do this process of creation. Vishnu is he himself. This Vishnu mentioned here is Kshirodaksha Vishnu, the one in a given universe. And Shankar, Shiva, Shivaji is an expansion of Adi Shiv, or Adi Shankar, or Sadashiv, you can say. And that Sadashiv is actually non-different from Karanadaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu, for some, we'll read further, he takes the form as Sadashiv. Of course, Sadashiv and Vishnu, the difference is, as explained in Brahma Samhita, of milk and yogurt. Milk, when comes in touch with that culture, it becomes yogurt. Quality-wise, ingredients-wise, there is no difference between milk and yogurt. It's all the qualities are same, except some things that milk can do and yogurt cannot, and yogurt can do and milk cannot. So this is how it's explained in Brahma Samhita about Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. So as Prabhupada further states, as Vishnu, he enters into every body materially created. As Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he enters Krishna, being the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas, is addressed here as Parapuman or Purushottam, as described in Bhagavad Gita. So there, Vinay Prabhu was asking the question the other day, if Krishna comes from Vishnu or not. But here, Krishna, Prabhupada says, Krishna is the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas. So not just this Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, but even all the Vishnu means Vishnu category, means Lord Ram, Narsimhadev, Vamandev, Varahadev, Hayagriva, Dattatreya, they all come under category of Vishnu Tattva. Krishna is the origin of all. He is complete whole. The Purush avatars are therefore his plenary expansions. Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him. Because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called the inconceivable. So his ways, his activities are very inconceivable. Inconceivable for the philosophers or for the yogis who want to know him by their own mental or sensory powers. But the devotees know him because they have surrendered unto him. So Krishna himself gives his devotees a power to understand him. So by that they know him. Text 13. Bhuyo namah sad vrijan ichade satam asambhavaya akhil sattva murte punsam punah param hanse ashrame vyavasitanam anumrig yada shirshushe. I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. For the situated destination. So for Krishna, Sukadev Goswami is saying that he is a liberator of pious devotees from all distresses. This is what Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, that Paritrana sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. So he kills a Paritrana sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So for the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, who gets how do they get their specific destination? It's only by mercy of Krishna. Means nobody is independent in their working in the whole universe. Not even the topmost transcendentalists who are there ready for spiritual perfection. Even they are not independent. Lord Shri Krishna is a complete form of existence, both material and spiritual. Kill means complete. Kill means inferior or incomplete. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, there are two kinds of nature. Prakriti, namely the material nature, and the spiritual nature, or the external and internal potencies of the Lord. The material nature is called apara, or inferior. And the spiritual nature is called superior or transcendental. Therefore, the form of the Lord is not of inferior material nature. He is complete transcendence. Means he is para, or transcendental or spiritual. And he is murti, or having transcendental form. Means he has a form. He has like we call it vigraha, archa, satchidananda vigraha. It's not called body. Lekha is transcendental form, but Brahman is simply the rays of his transcendental body. The devotees who are aware of his transcendental form render him service. Therefore, the Lord also reciprocates by his causeless mercy and thus delivers his devotees from all distresses. So devotees, they know his transcendental form. So all Archa Vigraha, or the deity form, is one of his transcendental manifestations. Devotees understand this and they serve him. And of course, Archa Vigraha is not different from Krishna, from Bhagavan himself. And what he does, he delivers his devotees from all distresses. He can remove the distresses, or he can give the strength to face the distresses, whatever way he wants. The pious men who follow the rulings of the Vedas are also dear to him, and therefore the pious men of this world are also protected by him. The impious and the non-devotees are against the principles of the Vedas, and so such persons are always hampered, making advance. The impious people, they're making more progress than the devotees are. I mean, the world is full of impious, atheistic, demoniac people. But here, from this verse, we can understand, of course, they can only make progress to a certain extent. That's all. But the devotees are always protected. Some of them who are specially favored by the Lord are killed by him personally, as in the case of Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and Kansa. Thus, such demons get salvation and are therefore thereby checked from further progress in their demoniac activities. Just like a kind father, either in his favor upon the devotees or his punishment of the demons, he is ever kind to everyone because he is a complete existence for all individual existence. Of course, the demons or atheists, they don't think that there is God. There is somebody who's in charge, who's controller of the whole universe. They don't think that. But in the end, they all get killed. And like Prabhupada is writing, if they're specially favored by Krishna, the Krishna personally kills them. If not, if they're just little bit demons, then Krishna's uh, external energy is good enough to take care of them. The Paramhamsa stage of existence is the highest perfectional stage of spiritual values. According to Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord is factually understood by the Paramhamsas only. As there is gradual realization of the transcendence from impersonal Brahman to localized Paramatma to the personality of Godhead, Purushottam, Lord Krishna. Similarly, there is gradual promotion of one's situation in spiritual life of sannyas. So in sannyas, there are many stages: Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajkacharya, and Paramhansa are gradual progressive stages in the renounced order of life, sannyas. And Queen Kunti Devi, the mother of the Pandavas, has spoken about them in her prayers for Lord Krishna that we studied in chapter 8 of Canto 1. The Paramhamsas are generally found among both the impersonalists and the devotees, but according to Srimad Bhagavatam, as clearly stated by Kunti Devi, pure bhakti yoga is understood by the Paramhamsas. And Kunti Devi has especially mentioned that the Lord descends, Paritranaya Sadhunam, especially to award bhakti yoga to the Paramhamsas. So, what is this Paramhamsa? Of course, in technical terms, in sannyas ashram, there are stages. Kutichak means, like we know, from one prast, a person goes towards, a man tries to take sannyas. After grihast is vanprasth is a retired life, in which a person is supposed to go to tirthas, dhams, and associate with sadhus. It is said his wife can or don't have to. It's up to them, and she can accompany the husband in vanprasth when he goes for this pilgrimage. But when it comes to take sannyas, then wife doesn't take sannyas. So wife stays at home, then the man takes sannyas. And when he takes sannyas, so like in a village setting, because Bhagavatam, to understand Bhagavatam, one has to understand the village life actually. So Kutichak means then the person who wants to take sannyas, because he does not have that much of experience or that much of faith yet. So he makes a hut right outside the village. So Kutichak, he makes a kutir. So what happens is, because he hasn't that much experience, that much faith, so he makes a hut outside the village. So physically his connection is not there, but he comes into the village because he knows everybody in the village, and he goes for madhukari, means he goes for begging for food and clothes. So once he gets his food and clothes, everybody knows him, so they help him. Then he goes back to his kuti, his hut, whatever he has made, and he spends the time there. So slowly, he starts getting confidence. So then he goes little bit more out, where he leaves this village, and he goes a little bit further out, makes his kuti in the hut in the further area. Then he goes to more other villages for his begging. Every day he would go to different village. So then he gets more and more confidence, more and more faith that Krishna is taking care of him. Krishna will take care of him. And then when he gets more faith, more confidence, then he becomes Parivrajkacharya. Means now he is not at all dependent on any village or any known persons. He is Parivrajkacharya, means now he can go and travel all over the world. And he has full confidence that Krishna will protect me, will take care of me. And after Parivrajkacharya, once he has more confidence, one is more detached, one is more realized, then he becomes a Paramhamsa. Paramhamsa means now he can take milk out of a mixture of milk and water. Means he can take spiritual aspect out of any seemingly material aspect, material activity, material life. And in fact, after Paramhansa stage, there is another stage, which is even higher than that. It's called Babaji stage. Babaji means completely, fully surrendered, fully dependent upon Krishna. And do nothing except glorify Krishna. And have nothing to do with any material attachment. And even after Babaji, there's a stage called Avadhut. Avadhut means completely mad in love for Krishna. So Kunti Devi is saying, so of course, Kunti Devi said that this Bhakti Yoga is for Paramhamsas only. So we all may become little hopeless that we are not taking sannyas and going through all these stages of sannyas. But this Paramhansa, of course, technically a sannyasi, but a grihastha can also be a sannyasi. So he can be a Paramhansa also in literary sense, because it all depends on his devotion to Krishna and his surrender. That's all. Like in our line, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, although he was a grihastha, he was a high court judge, but he was considered seventh Goswami. Now Goswami is also sannyasis. He was considered seventh Goswami, and right after his retirement from that judge position, and he basically left the house and he wanted to travel, and he was making temple for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Yog Pitha where Mahaprabhu appeared. He was directly given Babaji Vesh, Babaji title by all the Vaishnavas. Means he had crossed this Kutichak Bahutak Parivrajkacharya and Paramhamsa stage. So he was right at the Babaji stage level. Anyway, so these are technical terms we should know. So ultimately, the Paramhamsas, in the true sense of the term, are unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Unalloyed devotee means no contamination at all. Srila Jiva Goswami has directly accepted that the highest destination is Bhakti Yoga, by which one accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Those who accept the path of Bhakti Yoga are the factual Paramhamsas. So they are already Paramhamsas. Means they have understood that Bhakti Yoga is the highest destination in life. Since the Lord is very kind to everyone, the impersonalists who accept Bhakti as a means of merging in the existence of the Lord in his impersonal Brahmjyoti are also awarded their desired destination. He has assured everyone in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there are two classes of Paramahamsas, namely the Brahmanandis, impersonalists, and the Premanandis, devotees, and both are awarded their desired destination. Although the Premanandis are more fortunate than the Brahmanandis, but both the Brahmanandis and Premanandis are transcendentalists. Transcendentalists means spiritualists who are not at all inclined in the material life. Now, there are two kinds. One who follow the impersonal path. They think that ultimate is impersonal, and then the personal or Vaishnavas who understand the ultimate is personal, is a person, has a form, and best way is to serve him. They both are considered transcendentalists. But Prabhupada is saying the devotees are more fortunate than the people who don't believe in the form of the Lord. So those of us who thought Srimad Bhagavatam, when we start studying, it will be all wonderful stories. Yes, Bhagavatam is a Puran, so stories are there, but lots of philosophy will be there. so, so those who are thinking of Bhagavad Gita is lots of philosophy, I wish it was all Bhagavatam, stories. Welcome to Bhagavatam. We'll have lots of philosophy, and especially when we get into third canto, oh, it will be fun. But anyway, it's philosophy, but it's all related to Krishna. That's the beauty of Bhagavad. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for this wonderful
Thank
class.
you,
Every day I'm getting some message, especially for me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I'm not sure whether this actually will qualify as a question or no. Just want to understand about the sannyas ashram. In fact, very beautifully described by you. But one thing that struck me is, in fact, and I've observed before as well, in fact, at that advanced age, when actually the body also doesn't support. I mean, people start feeling the pain right after 40. So imagine at 60, 70. So is it not very difficult then to kind of stay without any support? I mean, understand they are Paramahansa, so they're totally dependent on Krishna. But are there not too many distractions in terms of your joints giving up, muscles giving up, stomach giving up? Doesn't it become too difficult at that stage? And indirectly, which means we should start early then and take advantage.
It is difficult, but I mean, even living at the home, it's also not easy. Sannyas ashram is difficult. That's why, actually, in the scriptures, in Kali Yuga, sannyas ashram is prohibited in Kali Yuga. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and six Goswamis further on, and and the followers later on, they take sannyas because the main aim of sannyas is to preach. So a preacher, actually, if he is a sannyasi or a grihastha or brahmachari or whatever, the main aim is preaching. So preacher is also considered in one sense a sannyasi because he is not. Again, sannyasi, if you go with the technical meaning of sannyas, means he is not at all attached to the fruits of the work. And yogi is who gives up. Who utilizes the fruits of his work in the service of Krishna. So a preacher, he is actually both. He does both. So preaching, for preaching purposes, Prabhupada and Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj also introduced sannyas ashram again, basically for preaching. And for a preacher, actually, I'll give you one incident. I was in Dallas before I came to India, and I had just started going to ISKCON. I don't think I was initiated yet. And once Ved Vyas Maharaj of ISKCON, he came, and he's Indian body, if you don't know him. He came to Dallas, he gave the lecture, and I was there to attend. And after lecture, Maharaj saw me. I was only Indian body person over there. Rest all were Americans, American devotees. So he said he was going for a walk around the temple, and he said, "Why don't you join me?" I said, okay, Maharaj, I'll come. So I was walking with him, and he was asking me, what do I do? And I said, I'm an engineer and this. And all of a sudden he said, you should become a preacher. You should come back to India and become a preacher. I said, Maharaj, I mean, I'm in my career and I don't know anything and I blah, blah, blah. I gave all the excuses. And Maharaj said one thing, and it's still stuck with me. Maharaj, a preacher has no lack of food and clothing. There's no problem for preacher. Krishna takes care of everything. And it really, I mean, once on Maharaj's Vyas Puja, Vyas Maharaj's Vyas Puja, I also said that. And Maharaj had told me, and it was exactly true. Krishna took care of everything. So for a sannyasi, just imagine, if not for a sannyasi, there are so many living entities, except apart, they don't have giants, they're fishes, they're insects, they're birds. Who takes care of them? Who provides for them? Krishna. Even among human beings, there are people who don't believe in Krishna. Atheists are there. There are agnostics are there who have all kinds of doubts. There are Mayavadis who don't believe in the form of Krishna. Still, Krishna takes care of them. So for a person who's devoted to Krishna, who's serving Krishna, who's trying to glorify him, who's trying to preach his message, will Krishna not take care of him? So sannyasi, actually sannyasi means one who is surrendered, fully surrendered to Krishna. So Krishna will take care of him. And Krishna does take care of him. But that, as I said, Kutichak Bahutak, so slowly he gets more and more confidence. So, and he is taken care of. Yes, bodily issues will be there, other issues will be there. Krishna does help. Not a problem. But that doesn't mean you should take sannyas, because Mataji, if she is listening to me, she'll kill me and kill you also. So don't take sannyas. You have 2 little kids to take care of. But Krishna does take care. That's not a problem. It's an established fact. Don't worry.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good.
Thank you. So you all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, thank you.